here's you, and here's a blue whale, the world's biggest mammal. It's about the same as putting 17 of yourself out in a football field. That'll give you an idea of just how long a blue whale is. And yet, somehow, if you can believe it, there are things out there bigger than a blue whale. Crazy, I know. Like the moon. The moon's about as wide as the United States or Europe. Or 115,000 blue whales. It's about a third the diameter of Earth. 1,700 kilometers across. And yet the Earth is big enough to hold more than 80 moons. It's so hard to believe that 80 full moons could be kept inside of our planet. The moon's just so small compared to Earth. Also, it's 384,400 kilometers from the Earth to the moon. That's like driving from one end of Texas to the other, 309 times. Not a drive I want to make. Like, the moon is so much farther than it really seems. If you could drive to the moon at a steady 100 kilometers per hour and never stop to go to the bathroom or get snacks, it would take you about 160 days to get there. Let's scale up to Jupiter. It's the biggest planet in our solar system, and this thing is actually insane. It's so hard to quantify. It has a diameter of 140 million kilometers. That's more than 11 Earths lined up next to each other. And here's the cool part. Jupiter could hold more than 1,300 Earths. Think about that for a second. This huge, dumb ball of gas could hold 1,300 Earths, each with life, land, oceans, and people whining about Mondays. For absolutely no reason, it has freaking 79 moons, including the famous Europa, which might have life. But 78 other useless moons. Anyway, you know what's better than a failed star? One that actually does its job. Meet the sun. It takes 1.3 million kilometers to circle the sun. That's about 109 Earths lined up in a row, just to get across the sun's surface. But here's something else to think about. How many Earths could fit inside the sun? 5? Maybe even 6? Close. Good guess. 1.3 million. So yeah, the sun is big enough to hold more than a million Earths. Yeah, the sun's big. Really big. It contains 99.8% of the solar system's entire mass. That means Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, all the other planets, asteroids, comets, and everything else make up only 0.2% of the solar system's entire mass. And let's zoom out, because the sun's pretty big, but once you're out here in space, the sun's really tiny compared to some of the other stars out here, like Betelgeuse and UY Scuti. First of all, Betelgeuse. It can be found in the constellation Orion. It's so big that if you put it in the middle of our solar system, it would reach all the way to Jupiter's orbit. Betelgeuse is so big that it could hold more than 1,000 suns. Just take a moment to think about that. 1,000 suns could fit inside this star, but Betelgeuse still isn't the biggest star out there. That honor goes to UY Scuti, a supergiant star in the constellation Scutum. By far, UY Scuti is the biggest star we know of. Its diameter is more than 1,700 times that of the sun. UY Scuti makes Betelgeuse look like a light flame next to a campfire. It's big enough to hold more than 5 billion suns, which is just an astronomical number. Because it's so big, if it were put in the middle of our solar system, it would go beyond Saturn. And that being said, even UY Scuti, which is impossibly massive, is only one star in the vast universe. So let's up the ante a bit. Now that we've talked about the big stars of the universe, let's talk galactic scale. Welcome to our home galaxy, the Milky Way. It looks like a big whirlpool. It's called the Barred Spiral Galaxy. If you could move at the speed of light, which, knowing you probably can't, it would take you 100,000 years to get from one side to the other. The cool thing is that the Milky Way is home to more than 100 billion stars. Yup, billion with a B. And each one of those stars might have its own solar system with planets moving around it like ours does. We've really only just begun to scratch the surface of what's out there. So we're chilling in the Orion arm of the Milky Way, a nice little place around 27,000 light years from the galaxy's center, also known as the black hole Sagittarius A. Meanwhile, our overachieving spaceships are out there on their own adventures. The furthest out there is Voyager 1, which is moving at a speed of 38,210 miles per hour.